what I'm going to do is actually officially opening this event in the sense of a welcome to country, but also a story from Tony Miller. And then I'm going to ask Peter just to share very quickly and just bring a greeting and with Rick perhaps too, just to bring us a welcome to country. But I'm going to ask Tony Miller to tell the story. He tells at every DIDS meeting, and we're just going to have, I believe, a minute's silence with that story. Okay, Tony, thank you for coming all this way down from Coffs Harbour. And could you just tell us that story, how you actually started DIDS meeting, and we'll just go through that because I think it's an important story to hear today.
Thanks, Warren. Thank you. I guess I've said this story many times, and I guess a lot of you people have probably already heard this story, but... Louder. Okay. Because if I'd known I was going to be on, I'd have came me here before I came this morning. But, yeah, look, when we do a DIDS meeting, it's really, these guys are really hurting, obviously, as you all know here. But obviously, when we go to a DIDS meeting, we try and take away some of that pain, not take it away, but maybe show that there's a number of things that happen to a guy that goes through a divorce and separation, obviously, and a number of things that happens to their kids. There was a story about Crystal. I've told the story a million times. We tell it at every meeting simply to get our guys to sort of take the pressure off of what they're thinking, or the focus off what they're thinking, and try and put it onto what's happening out there. And the truth is this was a young kid that went to school in Victoria. Was a while back. It's a true story. Mum and Dad split up. Dad went his way, Mum went her way. Family home was put up for sale. This kid was going to school one day and decided not to go to school. She went back to the family home. She broke into the family home, back through the back window of the house, got into the house. I guess, this is once the family home, it was now an empty shell. There was nothing there. I can only imagine what this kid was thinking as she's walking around this house. Maybe she was thinking about all the good times that she had when they had a family together. Maybe she's thinking about the birthdays, the friends over, all sorts of things. I don't know. Or maybe she was thinking about the arguments. Maybe she was thinking about the bad times. Maybe about all the stuff that happens in a divorce and separation. I don't know. But it got her to a point that earlier in the day she'd bought a bottle of metho. She'd had it in the school bag, and she took it into the house, and she sprinkled it all around the house, and she threw a match. She burnt herself alive. She suicided. It got her to a point that I hear a lot of our guys speak, and I know Barry and Wayne and a lot of you people in here that are working at the coalface also here, I just want to stop the pain. I just want to stop the merry-go-round. I just want to get off. Unfortunately, she did. She was 16 years old. 16 years old. She could have been your daughter. She could have been my daughter. Okay, and I ask the guys just to think about that when they go in and when we talk about the results of divorce and separations, the effects it has on our kids. They hurt just as much as us, possibly more. Okay, so maybe today, as much as I ask the guys in our meetings, is take Crystal home with you today. Take her home inside here and maybe think about that today, because it's important. It's why we're here. It's why we're here. Thank you. We also, at every meeting, we normally have an empty chair. There's plenty of empty chairs here, but we do have an empty chair at every meeting, just simply to remind us that somebody hasn't made it into that meeting today, that 5 males suicide in this country every day, and that's only the reported. Okay, it's only the reported that we have on the ABS. I'm sure if you talk to Mr. Eric Desais over here, he'll tell you that it's far higher. Okay, but at every meeting we have an empty chair. It's simply to remind the guys that somebody hasn't made it in there tonight. One of those 5 haven't got there. So we'd ask you just for a minute's silence to think about that. Think about those guys that don't make it in, the guys that aren't here today, and maybe also the Crystals out there of this world. Just a moment's silence. Thank you. Thank you.
Got me crying already. It's one of those sort of things.